Good morning, YouTube. What I've got to show you today is a game changer. For me anyway. I've never been much good at sharpening. I've got multiple different whetstones. I've had different systems over the years, but I can never get a consistent edge, a consistent bevel all the way down the end of the blade. It tends to look like a convex grind. It's not like the factory grinds you get when a knife is shipped to you. Excuse me. And if you buy a nice knife, particularly if it's got a coating on the blade, the last thing you want is to mess up the look of it. Although I can get them sharp, they just look amateurish when it's done. I purchased one of these the other day. I've done all my knives with it so far. It's fantastic. I've never used a sharpening system like it. Anybody can use it. You don't need any skill. You don't need really much knowledge in how to sharpen it. It's completely foolproof. If I can do it, then anybody can do it, I assure you. So this is the worksharp tabletop knife sharpener. It's not a big unit, see, in comparison to my hand. It's simple, dead easy to use. You don't need any tools, and I'll show you how it works. So this is how it comes. There's only a few bits that you put together. Again, you don't need any tools. This pulls out, it's magnetic, and this is your knife clamp. So you have a ring here which opens and closes it. Open that a bit far, and you clamp your knife in. It recommends on the right hand side. I found actually in the center is better. Gives you a more consistently sized grind all the way down the knife. So you tighten that up, make sure it's nice and tight, because you don't want that moving halfway through the process. Not done that very well. There we go. Right, tighten that up and you stick that back in there. It recommends that you start with the handle on the right hand side, but it does flip over. So then you're ready to go. So this is setting it at a horizontal angle. You then choose which angle you want your bevel to be at. So for everyday use, 20 degrees is recommended a lot. So you just turn the knob on the top, if you can see, turn this knob, and that takes it up and down. You've got between 15 and 30 degrees on here. I've not used anything other than 20 for a lot of the heavier use knives and 17 for some of the slicier pocket knives that I have. So say you set that at 20. I'm not actually going to sharpen this because I sharpened all of mine already. I've actually started wearing through the stones. You have this part which moves backwards and forwards along a rod. This comes out. Again, it's magnetic. Don't need any tools, but that slots in there. It moves up and down the rod, and you set the maximum distance it can go forward by that little rubber bung, and the maximum distance it can come backwards by the same on the back. The idea is that you keep it on the blade at all times. You don't allow it to run over the edge and drop down, but you want as long a stroke as possible because you want to be using the whole of the stone. In here you have 3 different stones. There's a 320 grit that you would use to remove most of the material. That's what's going to set the bevel angle. If you need to reprofile a knife, most of the heavy work is going to be done on 320. So you would start wherever you want to start, forward or backwards, and then just go up, down, up, and keep going slowly down the length of the knife. I'm not actually touching this because I've already sharpened it, but keep going all the way down the end of the knife. Perhaps I come back up again, maybe do that a couple of times, and then you check the opposite side of the knife with your nail and just see if you can feel a burr on the opposite side, and you'll feel it with the end of your fingernail when you go like that. If you have in places but not all the way down it, keep going. Do another couple of passes and check again, because until you've got that burr, The whole idea of knife sharpening is that you create the burr that folds over to the other side, you then flip it over and sharpen the other side, and it goes to the opposite side. You keep doing that until the burr gets finer and finer, and that's what's going to give you that razor sharp edge. So you keep going backwards and forwards. Once you've got your burr all the way down the end, it's dead easy. You don't have to unclamp the knife or anything. You press the button at the back, this whole thing flips over, and you start again on the other side. So it's constantly giving you can't go past the correct angle. All you've got to do is move it up, forwards and backwards. Keep moving it forwards and backwards. And then when you can feel the burr on the opposite side, flip it over again, and you move the stone from 320, if that's where you've started, to the 600. Now mine are looking pretty worn out already. I've used this on a lot of knives over the last week. But you go to the 600, which is obviously a finer grit, and start again. And you go down, and that's going to take most of the scratches out that you'll see with 320 grit. It's a much finer. I don't think it's actually 600. I think it's probably finer than that. But you keep going, and then when you can feel the burr on the opposite side, you do the same. Flip it over again. Then the last one, you can rotate this cylinder to the ceramic. And what I tend to do is go up and down a few times to take the scratches out. And then I use sideways glances like that to take the burr off, because that's going to strip the burr off that side of the metal. And then I probably give it a good kind of, I know other people do it far less, but a good 50 swipes in that direction, in that kind of motion, because it's giving you a swipe down the whole length of the blade. It's going to make sure that it's all even, that you haven't got some parts that are lower than others, that it's consistent. And just by doing that, it gets them razor sharp. I mean, sharper than I've ever managed to get a knife on whetstones. I don't profess to be very skilled on whetstones. I know some people are. I'm sure they could achieve those results, but it takes a lot of practice. You've got to have very consistent hold so that you are at the perfect angle every time, all the way down the length of the blade in every motion. This is idiot proof, and it gets them razor sharp. You can stop there. I mean, that's going to be perfectly sharp enough for most people. I'll show you. Great consistent results. It's a nice edge, better than you get from most factory edges, definitely, and bloody sharp. I can do this. I always mess this up behind the camera. Every time. Nothing wrong with that. You could shave with that quite easily. You can go a step further if you want to. There are people that sell kits of lapping film that you can attach to. I attach it to the ceramic plate, and all that is very, very fine abrasive film. The stuff that you buy in the kits is usually got a self-adhesive backing, so you can just stick it on, but it doesn't leave any residue. But you don't get that much, you don't get that many for your money, and for a few quid more you can buy an A4 sheet of each of them from a wholesaler, as I found, but you do have to go through the problem of cutting them all up yourself. So I got 4 different types. I got the brown, which is 5 micron, and then the pink, which is 3 micron, the 1 micron green, and the 0.3 micron. So you're taking it all the way down to 0.3 microns, which is some ridiculous grit if you were going to compare them. The mistake I made buying them from a wholesaler was I didn't pay attention to which ones I was buying, and only the 1 micron are actually self-adhesive. Don't cost any more, but these ones I have to attach to that myself, which is a bit of a pain. But the reason for using the lapping film is just to take the grit down even further, and that's how you can get that highly polished mirror edge. So if that's the ceramic, and you could get it shinier than that with ceramic if you spent a bit more time. Taking it down, spending a bit of time, all you do is attach the lapping film to the ceramic side and just repeat the same motion. You can get astounding results. I mean, that's not perfect. I'm still learning, and I've used this knife since I sharpened it, but you can get that kind of mirror polished edge, which I've never managed to do on whetstones. It's amazing. And this thing is super sharp. I'll probably mess it up again now, but I can never do it behind the camera. There we go. Just do it slowly so you can see. Very, very sharp. I can shave with that with one swipe. Astounding results that even any idiot can get. You don't need any skill. Just mount the knife, simple, backwards and forwards. You've got these brilliant edges. I hope that's useful to someone. I know I'm not the first one to show this worksharp tabletop sharpener, but I think it's worth another mention. I paid 65, I think, for this one. I've seen them since for 40, as low as 45 in some places, but even at 65, it's money well spent. I literally went through over the course of a week and reprofiled and resharpened every single one of mine. I've almost started wearing through the coating on the stones, but I suppose once you've got everything to that level, it's easier to maintain. You don't need to go back to the 320 or, you know, even the 600. You can just keep on top of it with the ceramic, and I will use the lapping film because I love those mirror edges, but dead easy. Certainly the best sharpening system I found by far. I hope that's of use to people, and go out and buy one. I'm not sponsored by Worksharp, but I am very impressed with it. Ta-ta.